YouTube! Welcome to The Backstory, where we're trying to get the backstory on indie games, to give a little light to indie game creation stories and a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to make a game. I am once again joined by my co-host James.
Hey guys.
And today's guest today is Dan. How you doing, Dan?
Hi, hello.
Yeah, so today we're looking at Super Shooter. I haven't looked into this too much, but I believe it's like a puzzly sort of first-person shooters sort of game?
It's like rocket jump in the game.
Rocket jumping the game. Alright, we'll go with that. Let's get into it, James.
Alright.
So, how did this game come about? Like, how did you find yourself making this game?
The game started because I was making another game that didn't work, and I was starting to thinking about how to make the first person shooter not better but different. Because always in first person shooter you have a button to jump, a button to use buttons and some things like that. But I wanted to make it everything more simpler. So I think, what about if I use things by shooting at them? What if I jump at shooting at them? I was invited by the Quake 1 rocket jumping,
Okay.
and with all this idea that I was mixing in my head, the concept of Super Shooter was born.
So
Yes,
this game is sort of like an experiment on what an FPS can be.
right. An experiment that ended in a game. The main story of the game is like John Carmack did when he was making Doom, and in an interview he says something like the story in video games is like the story in a porn movie. It's supposed to be there, but there is not important.
Right.
That's the approach that I have in the story. I do like heavy stories, but for what I do, I like to keep in that philosophy.
Right. Because that was going to be my question: is what came first? Was it the gameplay made to fit the story, or the story molded around the gameplay?
The story is completely made to serve the gameplay, because in this game you have to gather some replacements for the power arm. That's the thing that you can see there, and I needed to make an excuse to make the player, why are you getting the things? So I make this crazy thing that the player has to first get the power arm, but the power arm gets broken, so they need some parts.
Did you ever accidentally write yourself into a corner, having to make up the story as you go with the gameplay elements?
Thing is that I always knew what the game was going to be, so the story came easily. So most players don't notice that the story is like completely made up to serve the gameplay. So I think that I make the illusion that everything is working together. I don't want to make a story heavy game. I just want to make a thing fun and silly. Because that's why the characters have these stupid names, and they don't really have names. The story doesn't matter that much.
But you did take the time to add voice acting to these characters. If you didn't want to focus on the story, then why did you take the time to put voices to the characters?
Well, the thing is that the characters are there. So if I'm going to use characters, they need to talk about things. And the thing I wanted to make the game as complete as I could. If I'm going to add something, make it worth the effort. So that's why I added the voice acting.
And can you share a little story about what it was like getting these voice actors on the team? Where did you find them, and what was it like?
Yeah, sure. I wanted to add some voice actors, and a voice actor called Kevin Paculan BA on Twitter. Approached to me via DM and told me, "Hey, if you're working in a game, I can do the voice." Blah blah. And I told them to him in that moment, I'm not looking for voice acting for the moment, but I'm going to keep your message for the future. And after that, when I was looking for voice actors, I put on Twitter voice actors, and I found Nanny Manic. She's more than a Twitch streamer than a voice actress. But she wanted to work with me. She wanted to work with. She say something like, "Pay me $50." That was no, that's way too little to pay you way more, and that's how I get to work with Danny and
Okay.
Kevin. I already have the contact, so it was, "Hey Kevin, remember me? I do want to make something."
Neat. So what went into making each of these puzzles? How did you come up with them?
I was working in this game while I was working in another company, and most of the puzzles I came up with the puzzles in the subway. I had a notebook in my with me, and while I was taking the subway, I was drawing some puzzle ideas and making some puzzle elements. The way that I made the puzzles is like I
Mm-hmm.
write all the puzzle elements that I made, and I thought, okay, what's going to work when I'm playing the game? So I made like a lot. I have two notebooks full of diagrams and puzzle designs, and I didn't even use the half of it.
Okay.
They some puzzles were way too hard, some puzzles way too boring, or they didn't fit the order that I needed. And the thing is that I could make another game with all the puzzles that I didn't use, but it won't be a good game.
Right. So does this mean you cut out most of the you cut
I did.
your puzzle ideas because they weren't good? Or do you think that you
Right.
still have a lot of good ideas
No,
left?
I think the game is still a little bit too long. The thing is, I wanted to make the game to flow good. That was the main thing. I wanted the flow to be really good. So that's why I cut a lot of puzzles. Also, some puzzles weren't really that good.
Did you update the visuals a lot from your original vision of this game?
Right. So the first game was like made with boxes, and it kind of tried to have this quake-like aesthetic, and that's the main thing that made me lose progress in the game. I changed the aesthetic a lot. Even now, I don't like how the game looks. I will prefer to make it more. I don't know how. Really, I have a lot of problems with the aesthetics. I like to say that I made uh, art code and programmer art because I can do any of them very well. I changed the aesthetic a lot of times. The game was like made from boxes. After that, it may was like to look like Quake. After that, it was like the same thing. I tried to make something futuristic with cassette futurism, with cell shaded, but it was like low poly. And after
Yeah.
that was a little higher poly, but still low poly. After that, it was the cell shaded thing, but it didn't look that well. So I made think again. I changed the aesthetic of the game a lot of times.
Okay. Was this because you were just never satisfied with it?
No, never. To this moment, I'm not satisfied how the game looks.
Okay. What made you take the game to a full release? Because this game's out on Steam right now. So what made you take the game to release when you still wanted to change things?
Because I wanted to finish a project someday. That's the thing. The main goal with the game was to make a game,
Hmm.
to take a project from the start and to finish it. That was like the my main focus before even trying to make a shooter with an experimental shooter in sort of way. The main thing was to finish a project.
Okay. So how does that conflict with wanting to change things after you've released it then?
The thing is that I did change a lot of things. So I have to make the compromise. Okay, I cannot change the aesthetics more. I know that maybe the game doesn't look that well for me. Some people say the game looks good, not for me. But I needed to launch the game, so it was just like, okay, I have to do this. It's now or never.
So what's it like trying to make a game in Chile? Is there an industry there, or here in Australia? There's a lot of indie studios around, but the big companies don't really exist. Is it similar in Chile?
Yeah, the thing is that here in Chile we don't use horses, and we don't live in tigis like a lot of countries think. For example, the last game I think I saw Chile portrayed in was like this Call of Duty or Battlefield, and it was like this desert,
Right.
like nothing like here.
Just like some tribal, like the whole country is
Right.
tribalistic or something. Yeah.
Right. I once hear a tourist say something that he says, "Oh, I didn't knew that you have roads here."
Yeah.
Okay, we live in the 20th century, man. What the? Okay,
Okay, but
that
the
doesn't make
question
sense.
the question still stands because Australia is
Right.
also living in the 20th century. However, the video game industry here not really great. Um, so, is there a big video game creation industry in Chile?
Yes, we have like this thing called Veje Chile. I'm not part of it, but I learned a lot from when I was close to them. Veje Chile is like the group of Chilean developers, and there's a lot of festivals that you can go. So here in South America, there's a lot of game developers, indie game developers. Also, there are big companies. There's the short answer, yes.
Yes. Right. Okay. Um, all right. So let me slightly rephrase my next question then. Did you have any
18. That's
difficulty
what
in the reception of the game overseas because they thought that you were coming from Chile and they had some preconceived notions about what Chile was.
well, the problem with being a Chilean developer is
Hmm.
not the outside market, it's the Chilean market.
Okay.
Because here in Chile, the culture is like really weird. When something is made in Chile, the Chilean guys are like, "Oh, this is from Chile. It sucks."
Okay.
That's the Chilean mentality with everything.
Okay. Is it like a
For
national
example,
pastime?
when someone from outside Chile sees the game and say, "Oh, it looks cool," some people say, "Oh, it looks like this boring version of this thing," etc. But if
Right.
when a Chilean, someone from Chile is going to see this and say something like, "Oh, it sucks," or it's going to look for reasons the game to suck.
Right. Yeah.
For example, my brother, I told my brother, "Hey, did you know that this game was made in Chile? Not my game, another game." And he said something like, "Oh, I realize now why the loading screen logo is in centered.
Oh. Okay.
Like,
It's odd.
what? Why? Why are you trying to look for reasons to hate something if it's from your country?" That's the problem with being a Chilean developer. The,
Interesting.
the Chilean market.
That's fascinating. Because I know that like here in Australia, if you say something is Australian made, then a lot of Aussies will be like, oh, all right, yeah, just give it a shot, give it a fair shake of sauce bottle now.
No, I don't know why. I don't know why things are like this here.
Very odd.
People here is not proud of being Chilean for some reason.
Right. So, do you find it easier to market the game to international audiences than people from your own country?
Most of the sales are from United States.
Right.
There's the game was bought in Chile, but not that much. But
Okay.
in the marketing in the little marketing that I made, because it was a lot of effort, but it didn't work that much. Almost all the sales are from there.
Okay.
Of course, marketing is way hard. This game, I had the luck that a lot of Twitch streamers play the game,
Yep, yep.
but still, the sales are not that good. I can buy a launch with the earnings that I have. That was like my main goal, not the real goal, of course, but I like my joke goal. I wanted
Okay.
to be able to buy a burger with the earnings of the game. But but yes, marketing is really hard.
Yeah.
I still doesn't know don't know how to do marketing. The thing that I intended to do is to appeal to the speedruns gamers, to the hardcore
Yep. Yep.
gamers. I'm still working on that. I submit this game to a lot of indie game festivals. So that's the other marketing strategy, to submit the games to indie game festivals.
Right. Okay. And that's been more successful than trying to market it around your local area or your country.
Right. But the thing is that I won second place in innovative proposal in a Chilean festival,
Okay. Yep.
and it had a monetary prize. It wasn't that much, but it's money that
Hmm.
you can use in the development. The thing that they took almost a year in giving me that money.
Oh. Okay. So we are going to wrap it up here. Thank you again for coming on. I hope you had a good time, Dan.
Yeah, thank you, James and Isaac.
Now, down below, you will see links to support the game and to play it for yourself. If you would like your game to be on the show, we have a Google form down below. Finally, if you like the channel, subs, likes, and comments are always appreciated. And we also have a Discord group. But until then, we'll catch you in the next episode.
And
Yeah.
another thing about Chile.
Okay, here we go.